Welcome, people. Welcome back to RViews, where you get our views on all things film, TV, pop culture in general. Today, we're talking about Bleach. With the advent of Core 4's first three episodes of Bleach hitting cinemas this weekend, I thought I'd give you a rundown of my top 5 must see things in this core of Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War arc. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into it. Now, I've got two honorable mentions that I would like to see in Core 4 of the Thousand Year Blood War arc. And the first one of those is I want to see more about Rio. I want to see the Soul King. I want to see some more backstory, some more lore drop for him. Now, the reason they didn't make it into my top 5, and it's just an honorable mention, is the fact that I'm kind of happy with some mystery still in the Bleach universe. I think also the fact that we're going to possibly get a Hell arc, maybe even this year, we've heard some rumors, that will give time for us to expand in the lore and go deeper into Rio's backstory. And like I said, I don't mind the mystery that much. But again, if we get some more lore drops, I will not be disappointed. If we get to find more about how he created the cosmos, I'm not going to complain. Now, my second honorable mention is a Kisuke and Yuriichi flashback. Now, this is something that I would love to deepen their relationship. They've been together since, day one almost. And we've had a little bit of teasers about their story, and we had some stuff in the past that's looked at the history of Kisuke and a little bit more Yuriichi, but I don't think it's enough. I think we'd like to see a little bit deeper relationship. I think we'd like to see some more interesting story and backstory to these two immensely popular characters. The reason it didn't make it into my top 5 is just the fact that I don't think I'll be that disappointed if we don't get it. Now, of course, I love Kisuke and Yuriichi, but we already know a lot about them, and especially Kisuke, we know quite a lot about his history as a Soul Reaper. Like I said, I won't be too disappointed. Now, let's get into the top 5. Coming in at number 5 is I want to see Visors. Now, we saw at the end of Core 3, all the Visors had this little money shot in the fight against Gerald. In the manga, well, they're not all there. And firstly, the Visors that are there just get completely shredded off the rip, basically. They don't really put anything towards the fight that's really interesting. I also think that it would be amazing to see a couple of the Visors Bankais that we haven't seen already. Now we got Hiyori we haven't seen, we've got Love, we've got Lisa, we've got Hachi and Mashiro. I don't know how you say her name actually. I'm not gonna lie, bro. But yeah, that's a huge amount of Visors whose Bankais we have not seen yet, and it kind of surprises me because they were such huge characters, you know, in the fake Karakura Town arc and the arc leading up to that. And we had a couple Bankai reveals in the Thousand Year Blood War arc, but I just want to see more from them. I want to see a little bit of justice for them. Obviously, Shinji's already had a little bit of justice. We've seen his Bankai, obviously the leader of the Visors. He did have to kind of come out punching in this arc because in the manga he was a huge letdown, to be honest. We got to see his Bankai, we got to see him have a good fight, and now I really want to see some of the other Stern Ritters, especially Hachi, to be honest. Hachi has always been one of my favorite Visors, and I would like to see him do something just huge and monumental, in this fight against Gerard. I do think they will have a little bit more to say and do in this final core because we already saw that money shot with them fighting Gerard. But let's just we keep our hopes high, and I really want to see them do something amazing. And number 4, this also concerns Gerard Valkyrie. I want some more lore on him. Supposedly he's the heart of the Soul King, and that's kind of all we know about him. We know almost nothing else about this monster of a character. If you've seen this fight in the manga, if you know about it, you know that he's doing bits. He's an absolute monster, and he's destroying people left, right, and center. So we have seen other parts of the Soul King in Bleach. We saw Mimihagi and Pernida, both the hands of the Soul King, and we got some decent backstory, some lore concerning them in the Thousand Year Blood War arc so far. But nothing about the heart. That seems strange to me. The heart seems like the most vital organ, maybe apart from the brain. So if we were going to get some lore about some aspect of the Soul King that's not tied directly to Rio's story, I thought it would be the heart. There's also some interesting things where, you know, Valkyrie, Gerard Valkyrie gets split in half when we see Quincy Cross at his core. I want to understand what that is. That is, it's not even mentioned in we see it, but it's not even spoke about or mentioned in the manga whatsoever. So I'd like a little bit more understanding. I would like to have some lore on that and who Gerard is in general. How did he get to be this immense monster? There's already hints that he's probably not a Quincy like all the other Quincy's we've seen, like all the other Sternritters we've seen. He might even precede a lot of the Quincy's we know right now. And I think that's such an interesting character to delve deeper into. Moving on to number three, is a two for one. I want to see Ishin and Ryuken do something, to be honest, because they were very, very lackluster. For characters that have been with us from the almost the inception of Bleach, the very, very beginning of Bleach, they haven't really done anything. You know, we're hundreds of episodes in now, and they've had minimal impact in the story, and they're just very lackluster characters. I mean, we love Ishin, you know, we love his dad's side, we love his interaction with his kids, you know, and his mystique is also what kind of draws me to Ishin in general. But I think there can be more to be done with these characters. I mean, Ryukin comes in towards the end and gives Uryu the arrow that he eventually uses um, against Yuhabaki to help in the fight of defeating him. But I think these two characters, Ishin and Ryuken, can do more. I think possibly we could have Ryuken stepping in uh, beside Uryu in his fight against Ugram. That could be so interesting to see. And I think also we could have Ishin helping out even in the Gerald fight if he wants. But I think mainly it would be nice to see him fighting alongside Ichigo. If we have the fathers of our two main characters of the whole of Bleach, you know, Ichigo and Uryu, have their fathers fighting alongside them in the final arc, this would be, I think this would be a phenomenal upgrade for the Thousand Year Blood War arc as a whole. So yeah, I mean, what more can I say about Ishin Ryuken? They haven't done enough, and I want to see more from them because they are beloved. Their mystery, their intrigue, and they look cool. They're some of the coolest looking characters I think in Bleach, and Bleach has some cool looking characters. Coming out number two is something I think everyone wants to see. If you're a Bleach fan, if you read the manga, this is probably at the top of your list for what you want to see in the Thousand Year Blood War arc, and that is Ichigo's true Bankai, and his true Bankai actually do something. Now, in Ichigo's fight against Yuhabak, we we see him go Bankai, we see Ichigo go Bankai, and then instantly his Bankai is broken by by the Almighty, and we don't get to see it again. It's it's it it's a tool to show you how far beyond Yuhabak has become now after absorbing the Soul King. He's so powerful now. Our most powerful character, maybe besides Aizen, his Bankai is just getting destroyed outright, just by the thought of Yuhabak. And I think it's a good tool to show you how strong Yuha Bark is. But at the same time, it was disappointing not to see Ichigo go completely all out in that final fight. Now, I think there is a world, and I think we probably will get to see a little bit more. I wonder how much more we will get to see of his Bankai in the final fight. There's a possibility that maybe we get to see a full fight with his Bankai, and then it snapbacks and it's actually a future version that Yuhabak is seeing through the Almighty, and it snaps back and his sword is broken at that point. So we get the kind of best of both worlds. We get to see a fight, and then it snapped back. That fight didn't actually happen because Yuhabak has changed the future with the Almighty, and his Bankai is completely broken. So I think there's a world where we see that outcome, and it's probably, like I said, it's top of the list for most people. Now moving on to number one. Now for me, this is peak Bleach. I think this is something that everyone has wanted to see since what? Since the Arrancar arc, pretty much. And this is Aizen's Bankai. Now there's a lot of speculation. There's so many theories online, and I'm not gonna dive into all the theories of what Aizen's Bankai could actually be, because that could be a whole video on its own, and I don't think I have the time to go through all the minute fan theories and speculations about what his Bankai could be. But all I know is Aizen is the most beloved villain in Bleach, and he's the biggest villain in Bleach. He's the villain we spent the most time with, the one we fell in love with, the one we love to hate. And his Shikai is so strong. It's always the case that it always seems like he doesn't need a Bankai. Like, why would you need a Bankai when ultimate hypnosis can turn the fight of any battle? So there's been a level of knowing Aizen is so strong that he doesn't need his Bankai. But how phenomenally hype would it be if we got to see his Bankai? That's all I want to see it for. I just want to see it for pure hype factor. This will be on the levels of Kenpachi's Bankai, and probably even higher than seeing Kenpachi's Bankai, because he is our villain. Kenpachi is kind of like the poster boy of hype and raw power and fighting prowess in Bleach, and we were all, you know, so hyped when we saw his Bankai. But at the same time, he's not Aizen. Aizen is on a different level as a character, and like I said, he's been with us through thick and thin. We've spent the most time with Aizen, and at this point to not see his Bankai seems like it will be a little bit of a letdown for a lot of people, because we know we want it. It's the fan service in anime has always been a big pulling point for a lot of people, and this will be the biggest fan service moment in the whole of Bleach, I think. You know, apart from maybe, like I said, Kenpachi and Yamamoto's Bankais. Those three are probably the most anticipated Bankais in Bleach as a whole. So yeah, that was my list of top 5 things I wish and I hope we get to see in Core 4 of Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. Now, you know, hit the comments, tell me what you want to see in the 1,000-Year Blood War arc Core 4. Tell me what you think we're going to see, what changes you think are coming in this next core. And let me know if you're going to go see it in the cinema when it comes out, because I know I will. Alright guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for joining us. And always, like, comment, subscribe, hit the noti bell, and I'll see you in the next one. RViews.